Here are my tools of mass creation, or the tools that I use to make my art. So yeah, here's the list, both traditional and digital. First up, traditional. So I mostly use this medium for sketching and brainstorming and just to have fun with art, because most of my full-on illustrations are done digitally. But here's what I use from the traditional world. For pencils, I use a standard 2B wooden pencil, the Staedtler Mars Lumograph. That is my favorite brand. For sketching in my sketchbooks, because I just love its thickness and darkness. Sometimes I also use 4B pencils or HB pencils, but mostly it's 2B. And I also use a bunch of these mechanical pencils from Rotring if I want some precision in my drawings and if I want those really fine lines. So it really depends on the mood, to be honest. I also sometimes use color pencils to sketch my stuff or to add some tone to my drawing. For that purpose, my go-to one is the Faber-Castell Polychromos color pencils. I don't know how you pronounce that. Faber-Castell, Walt Disney Castle. Bad joke. And also another color pencil brand that's a favorite of mine is the Prismacolor Kohl Erase Pencil. The coolest part about these pencils is that you can erase them and it will go off fully. That's the magic right there. So I particularly use this color pencil for drawing some of my base sketches, and then I go on and add inks on top of that. So my base drawings are mostly made with these kind of color pencils. Paper, what do I use? I use the Strathmore Bristol 270 GSM board. It's really good. It's damn thick. It's very smooth, and it can hold a lot of ink and colors. And this is my go-to traditional sheet of paper where I just draw sometimes on these things and then I color things digitally. So yeah, this is the one. Sketchbooks, I don't have any specific brand particularly. I just use any sketchbook that is slightly bigger than A5, lesser than A4, and has 120 GSM or more of paper weight. Why do I prefer that? Because I don't want things to bleed on the back of the paper. I don't want that. So I want thicker sheets and good quality. I want 50 sheets in my sketchbook at least. Now pens, this is where things get interesting. I use these Uniball Micron fine liner pens. I just recently discovered them and it's freaking amazing. I use it for writing, quick drawings and sketches, and mostly, to be honest, for writing. I use the 05, 06 or 07 for writing in my journals, in my rough notes, and my planners. I just sit with them, I brainstorm stuff with these pens, and I also sometimes use these pens to do these very quick studies and doodles and pen doodles in my notebooks and my sketchbooks. It's absolutely fun. I used to use the Sakura Micron pens, but I don't recommend that anymore. I recommend these things. These things are good. And to wrap things up on the traditional world, I use the Pentel Pocket brush pen and the Pentel Feud brush pen for good quality inking. If I wanted some clean lines, these are my go-to pens for me to do that. With that said, let's move to the world of digital, where my first tool is my freaking phone. Now, why do I use that? I use the Adobe Scan app to scan all my traditional drawings and then import them digitally. It's really clean and very simple and extremely fast. I sometimes even use that to get like high quality lines, after which I remove the backgrounds in Photoshop so that I can get these line works without the background. So that's one of the cool things I do as well. Adobe Scan helps with that. The world of my digital art supplies is extremely minimalistic. Here's how it goes. I use the iPad Pro 12.9-inch tablet with the Apple Pencil, and Procreate is my go-to software. That's it. I use Procreate for literally everything that I drew. I draw all my illustrations in that. I make my comics with that. I do storyboards. I draw thumbnails for my YouTube videos. I even made an animated short film with that thing. I drew the backgrounds for my previous animated short film with that thing. Every little thing that I want to do digitally is done on Procreate and on the iPad. Why? Because iPad by far is the best portable drawing tablet there is. Apple is a $1 trillion company. They're going to be on the top and they're going to make the best portable hand-drawn tablets. So yeah, my go-to version of the iPad is a 12.9-inch. I don't care about the 4G, 3G version. I really don't care about the specs. I just need a lot of space, and then I want a big screen. And if you want something cheaper and smaller or portable, I'd recommend you go for the iPad Air, and that is damn good as well. Now, if you just get the iPad and start drawing on it, it'll feel like you're drawing on plastic. You don't want that. It'll be like drawing on glass. You don't want that. So what you would want is a paper-like texture. And for that, I use Paperlike. So it's basically a screen protector, which you carefully stick on your iPad, make sure you don't have any bubbles in it. And then your iPad creates this beautiful paperish texture in it. So when I first discovered this and I was like drawing, I used to get these paper sounds on my iPad, and I told my friends that, hey, I get these paper sounds on the iPad. It's cool that the iPad is generating these sounds as I'm drawing them. And those guys told me, like, dude, that's not the iPad. It's your paper-like thing. It's creating those sounds. I was like, wow, that is really amazing. So if you get the iPad, get it with Paperlike. It's extremely important. Now for the brushes that I use in my iPad to make my incredible award-winning artworks. What award? It won the award of my heart. That's the award that it needs. Things are even more minimalist on this front because I just use the inbuilt brushes that comes with Procreate and slightly tweak them for my purposes, because I don't just go around and spend lots of money on brushes. I do create some of my own brushes, but yeah, I haven't put them out yet. I'll put them out soon, maybe sometime. But I use a 6B pencil for sketching. That is it, 6B pencil. And then there is this custom pencil brush that I have that I also use for sketching. Maybe I'll put that down below for your downloads. And I use the dry ink pen for most of my inking because it's got this really textured lines. Now, if I'm not in the feel for those textured lines, and then I would go for the Studio pen. There is another pen called the Studio pen. It's really nice. It's got these very cleaner lines. So I use that. And then I use this calligraphy brush in the calligraphy brush set in Procreate for all my typography work. So all the stuff that you see, all of those things are drawn by this hand. And I don't use any fonts.
Because I'm an idiot.
And yeah, those are all the brushes that I use. And along with the classy, the most important flat brush for filling in colors, and the airbrush, because you just need an airbrush. That's it. That's pretty much it. And I also have this sand texture brush I got from somewhere, I don't know where, but I use that. Now, these are all the tools and supplies that I use to make pretty much everything that I make. Now, I did not start here. I started out with a ballpoint pen and copy papers, and those were more simpler and good times. Today, these times are also simple as well. It's more simple on the digital front, but on the traditional front, I just started with copy papers and pencils and pens. Now, for those who are starting out, I highly recommend that you don't use the lack of these supplies as an excuse to not make art or not make good art. You can actually master a particular tool and really get good at that, and then make really good art. So don't have to wait for these stuff. You just start creating, accumulate skill sets, which will then allow you to get resources and supplies that you would want. So just don't wait, make art, make stuff, things will come. Just gotta be patient, and that's how you do it. See you in the next episode of 2 Minute Tuesdays, where this video is clearly not 2 minutes, and that is fine because it's my video.